Welcome to Modern Motoring. We are again with the 2025 Kia K4, but this time it is the top trim GT line Turbo Limited. I'm just going to call it the Limited from now on out to save a bunch of words. In the initial review, which I did a deep dive on, it was the second from the bottom EX trim, which Kia said was going to be the volume seller, which is why they put it on the media fleet. I believe it was November of 2024. So in this video, instead of going through all the stuff and things again, I'm going to focus on the value proposition of the Limited trim, which is $8,000 Canadian more than the EX. So what I'll do is go through the power specs, I'll go through what comes standard on the K4 and what you're getting for the $8,000 in the Limited trim. So in this specific Limited trim, you get a 1.6 liter turbo 4, 190 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque, an 8-speed automatic. Contrast that with the EX, where you get a 2 liter 4-cylinder engine, 147 horsepower, 132 pound-feet of torque through a CVT, or what Kia calls an IVT. Both are front-wheel drive. So there's a decent power bump here, and I think if anyone leans toward the GT lines, there's two of them, the GT line and the GT line Limited, it's gonna be because of the 8-speed automatic versus the CVT. But more on that a little later on. So here's what everybody gets, regardless of what trim you pick with K4. So you get heated front seats, you get keyless entry, a 12.3-inch infotainment screen. Everybody gets the key standard safety features. There's a list on the screen highlighting what those are. Thank you, Kia, for not nickel and diming us on that side. Everybody gets Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. A physical spare tire comes standard, as does 413 liters of cargo space, and over-the-air wireless updates. So great job there. The large dual screens are also a bit of an asterisk, so everybody gets the large-sized digital instrument cluster. But the difference here versus the EX is that this is customizable, it's changeable. With the EX, you had that 4.2-inch TFT screen that you could move around with, as opposed to pretty much everything being customizable and movable here. So same framework, just different guts to it. Now here are the highlights of what you get with the Limited trim. So you get the stronger engine, again, a 1.6 turbo instead of the 2 liter 4-cylinder, and again, 190 horse versus 147, 195 pound-feet of torque versus 132. Okay, sure, fine, but I don't think this class needs a turbo engine. Maybe in a mid-size sedan, or maybe even in a compact crossover, but this segment is so small, and I don't know if driving dynamics really are a key driver here. You get these GT style seats, and they're black and white, and it's pretty much the white trim, and you get a little bit of a white trim around the center console as well. You get heated rear seats, and you get a rear armrest. Kind of an interesting move that it's done on the EX, but part of what you get here in the Limited. You get 3-stage ventilated front seats and memory seats here in the GT trim. You get a 5-inch HVAC screen that splits your instrument cluster and infotainment system. I'm a little torn on it. There's the key physical buttons just beneath the vents, and you hit this little plus sign on the top right corner of this 5-inch screen, and then your whole 12.3-inch infotainment system turns into an HVAC system temporarily. You do your controls, and then you X out of that. It goes back to being a small 5-inch screen, and then you have your infotainment system back as it is. Over-engineered? Absolutely. I think they did a good job overall, though, balancing that over-engineering with a very primitive yet much appreciated basic system of temperature up and down for the front two occupants, different modes, and your fan speed. You get a premium Harman Kardon audio system, which sounds pretty good. Little bass heavy for my liking, even with the bass dialed back a bit, but overall it does sound pretty good. You get Highway Drive Assist 2, a 360-degree camera, and the car's pretty small. I don't know if it really needs it, but I realize the need to throw some extra value in here, and Kia's already got a 360 cam in-house, so may as well put it in here as well. You get the blind view monitor, which is where your rearview mirrors have little cameras underneath them, and it shows up in the instrument cluster. And you get forward collision avoidance too. You get 17-inch wheels on the EX, whereas you get 18-inch wheels here. And not specifically exclusive to the GT Limited, it's EX Plus, GT, and GT Limited. You get this regular size sunroof, not panoramic, but a sunroof nonetheless. Let's dip into some numbers, and it's the fuel consumption side. So whereas this specific turbo trim gets 8 liters per 100 kilometers combined, the non-turbos, being the LX, EX, EX Plus, get 7.3. And the average, which Natural Resources Canada has calculated, is that you'll save $217 annually in fuel costs by going with the CVT as opposed to the turbo. So yes, on paper, there is more power here in the GT Limited. And you feel it, but it's not head snapping back into the headrest fast. It's not brisk, it's not quick. Again, it's there, it's noticeable compared to the EX, but I don't know if there's enough value in everyday driving in heavily urbanized situations, or even if you're out in the country or in rural areas. The EX, from my week with it, performed more than fine. It was more than adequate. It did an excellent job in being a compact sedan. You don't need to have all sorts of mind-blowing power and 0 to 100 times actually being measured. Yes, I realize it's a wants versus need, and again, the big differentiator here where I feel some people may lean toward one of the GT turbo lines is that 8-speed automatic as opposed to the CVT. And the CVT wasn't bad, not by any stretch, and there's no good CVT out there, but it played the part it was designed to do, and it did it extremely well. And cornering handling still done well. It's the same body for the vehicle, and the turbo is a couple 100 pounds heavier because the different engine, and the wheels are a little larger with 17 versus 18, but it still has this similar drive feel overall. It's relatively quiet, nice and low to the ground, as compact sedans are. Stays pretty flat. That nice lower center of gravity really helps out with that. Pricing in Canadian MSRP figures for this top trim GT Limited comes in at $34,495. Contrast that with the EX, which is $26,495, again a difference of $8,000. So the big question is there an extra $8,000 of value here in this top trim versus the second from the bottom? I don't see it. I think the EX trim is very well decked out. You get a long list of standard features, you get all of your key safety features. It still drives well, and it's quick enough, even with that 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. And again, the CVT versus an 8-speed automatic, some will notice a difference, some will want that 8-speed. I think that if you are a budget conscious buyer, you want something that is function first and fashion second, and you like the small footprint of what the Kia K4 has to offer, I think the EX is absolutely the way to go. Am I dead on? Am I completely off base? Do you think that one of the trims in between, being the EX Plus or the GT Turbo, not the GT Turbo Limited, is the way to go? Or are you completely on the let's go with the base trim LX? Because again, standard features are pretty good. That's going to wrap it up for the 2025 Kia K4 GT line Turbo Limited. If you have any questions on what you've seen, let me know in the comments. I'm always happy to hear from you, and I'm always happy to engage in respectful discussions online. I invite you to join our social media platforms. We are on all of the major ones, and without you, there is no modern motoring. So I thank you, I appreciate you. I'm going to wait for the truck to pass, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.